everybody. I am so glad you are here for our second brainstorm of May with Re-Theater. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Lindsay Cuiava. I am the Artistic Director of Re-Theater. Re-Theater is an online theater education and consulting company, and our whole goal is to help inspire educators to find ways to inspire their young people to make art that matters, and to use theater as a platform for community engagement and conversation, but also as an opportunity to heal communities. Obviously, that second part is very important right now with COVID-19, both in our actual immediate lives, but someday when we do get to return to theaters, because we will, and live performance will happen again, making sure our audiences feel safe and also connected through the arts. So I'm so excited that you're here. We are doing these brainstorms every week, just as an opportunity for us to look at specific issues that we need to innovate around. And because you never know where things are going, but it's so much easier to have these conversations in person. So for those of you that are watching live with us, welcome. If you guys want to go ahead and mute yourselves for just a little bit, but then once we go through and have our guests today speak about what they are doing in their communities, please unmute yourself, because this is a general conversation and we want to hear what you guys are doing as well. For those of you that are watching in replay, obviously, if you have questions, let us know. Just reach out to me, whatever works for you. We're just happy to have you here. So let's go ahead and let's jump into today's topic, because it is so important, and we actually moved it up in our lineup because a few people reached out and were like, OMG, I really need to get my summer programming done. Can we start talking about that now? So today we're going to be talking about how do we transition and innovate our theater programs to an online format for the summer, and how do we keep the arts in our communities and inspiring our young people. So today we are joined by two amazing people that I'm so excited. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but Aaron Alonso is Re-Theater in our Spotlight group. He's one of our mentors. He's our production management mentor, and he does a lot of amazing other things for us as well. And then Allison Brandon, who is one of my favorite humans that I have recently in this last year met. And she is just an incredible educator from down in Louisiana. So let's go ahead. They're both going to talk about different ways that they are currently bringing their programming online. But Aaron, why don't we start with you? And if you want to just introduce who you are a little bit more in depth, and then jump into what you guys are doing over at Kids Stage currently, and what you guys are maybe looking at for the summer.
Yeah, sure. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Aaron Alonso. I am the production manager at Village Theater Kids Stage in Everett, Washington, which is about 30 minutes north of Seattle in really good traffic.
So right now it's 20 minutes.
But right now I could probably make it in 15, right? At Kids Stage, Kids Stage is our youth education department at Village Theater. Village Theater is one of the largest regional theaters, at least in the Puget Sound area. I like to say that our company is bi-coastal because we have two locations. We have our primary headquarters in Issaquah, Washington, which is about 30 minutes east of Seattle, and then secondary locations in Everett, 30 minutes north of Seattle. But both locations has a Kids Stage program, emphasis on the kids and the students, of course. It's a huge youth education program, and there are a variety of ways for students to be involved with classes and camps. They kind of range the gamut, I guess, between as young as pre-K to as old as age 20. Both for skills on stage as well as behind the scenes. And then we also have a very robust production department, which is what I run. So I supervise all of the shows that we produce over the course of the year. And in Everett, in our Everett location, we produce 6 shows over the course of the year, 3 during the school year, and then 3 during the summer, because we're crazy people, and we do 3 shows during the summer in the span of 3 months. But all of our departments are very interchangeable. Like sometimes I have to help with classes helps with productions, through auditions. And so it's a very symbiotic relationship with all of our staff members. So as you can imagine, we're even more tightly knit now, because we're just having to meet every other day about things that are changing sometimes by the hour, which is kind of crazy. And so we've been using the last like month and a half or so of this quarantine to kind of like buy us as a youth education department time to figure out what type of programming we can actually do virtually, and then B, which is perhaps the most important aspect, is what do the students want and need right now. So we kind of had to like shutter everything just to buy us time to like rack our brains around brainstorming and what that could all look like. And then through a variety of phases, both from the class side and from the production side, we started to essentially just poll our students, especially those who were currently in programming with us by the time the shutdown happened. So it was constant like email communication with the parents and then the students, a variety of surveys. Like we had a couple of surveys for just classes alone, tackling a variety of age groups. So it's like from pre-K to like 5th grade was one set of surveys, and then from 6th grade through 8th grade was its own survey set, and then like 9th through age 20 was another survey set. So it's kind of like beginning, intermediate, and then advanced, if you want to look at it that way. And the surveys in general asked, of course, like the usual questions like, your name, email address, what location you typically participate in, what grade you're currently in, and then what type of programs or classes do you typically take, whether it's like an exploratory acting class or an improv class. Maybe for our older students, maybe they participate more in like advanced tap or intermediate tap, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of geared that way. And then with productions, we kind of had to look at the outreach in a different way. So most of our early correspondence was essentially, what do you need right now? Because obviously their end goal is to rehearse a show, which we couldn't do at that point. So it was like, what do you need? And at least for the production that we were currently in, we're still in the midst of somehow figuring out how to rehearse Aladdin Jr. That cast essentially like wanted to just see each other. They didn't really care as to whether they were rehearsing or what. It was essentially like, we just want to see each other's faces and interact. And so like we had to structure, we ended up structuring like weekly check-ins through Zoom with that cast. And we kind of alternated between like more passive ways of like a check-in. So like one of the themes that we had early in the process was a viewing party of the original animated Aladdin film. So it was just like, hey, spend 2 hours watching this movie with us. Versus on the opposite side, where we did like, we split our cast into cast teams, and they had activities like checking in with each other. What do they hope to accomplish? What were they working on in the rehearsal hall prior to the shutdown, et cetera, et cetera. But looking ahead into what the summer looks like, since we now have a lot more information of what social distancing looks like and et cetera, we've kind of just like pulled the rug out of all of what could have been in-person meetings. We're, at least for classes, we are going completely online through the end of July. Our summer camp sessions usually last through the middle to end of August, depending on the year. But so we're still hoping for some sort of in-person camps for the month of August, for the last 3 or 4 weeks of camps. But at least 2/3 of this time, or of the summer, I should say, through the end of July, we're going completely online. And on a good day, all of our classes, the summer camp session during the summer is really robust. It's usually like 3-hour camp sessions, Monday through Friday, and it's always a brand new roster of classes every week. That will burn anyone out on Zoom. So we kind of had to like reverse course a little bit, and instead of doing, at least at the moment, we're planning on doing, still having summer camps, of course, online, but do like 2.5 or 3-hour sessions, but doing them either every other day or once a week, depending on the age level of the student, the particular class or skill that is being taught in that class, and the topic. So if it was like an exploratory acting class with like first, second, third graders, chances are their attention span will not last longer than 2 hours, give or take. So that is kind of like the cap in terms of like the duration of the meeting. And then they're going to meet. Actually, I don't entirely know what was decided on, but one of the ideas we were thinking of is just having them meet like every Monday for 2.5 hours. Or if it's a more advanced class, maybe it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I don't actually have too much information as to what classes have decided yet, but those are a couple of options. Either like a 2 or 3 hour section for, let's say, once a week for 8 weeks, versus like more truncated process, but it's like you're meeting 2 or 3 times a week. So that's kind of what classes are looking like. And then for productions, just really quickly, at some point, we're in the middle of another production as well in like the early pre-production stages, which would have gone up during the summer. And right now we're still planning on having some sort of show during the summer, but there's a really good likelihood that it's going to be online focused in some way. So whether that's live streaming one performance, and like many of the other theaters that they're doing right now, they're like filming a show and then they just throw it up on YouTube for a week. We might do that. We could be doing a staged reading version of this musical or a concert version. But all of the rehearsals are, I'm 95% sure they're going online. And so the production team, coincidentally, are all students for this show. So I'm working with this whole student-driven production team on figuring out what rehearsals online looks like. Some ideas that they've tossed around have been doing like football diagrams, play-by-plays of like X's and O's and arrows drawn this way, like you're gonna cross upstage center on this particular lyric, or taking pictures of, using the Zoom whiteboard and like screen sharing the ground plan of the set, and you're going to move here and draw arrows going this way. There could be some choreography videos where they take what would be a full production number, the choreographer films it and then breaks it down step by step as to how to teach that choreography. We're still in the very early stages of what online rehearsals look like, but that's kind of what we've been discussing. That was a lot in a very short amount. That was very wordy, but yeah, there's a lot on our minds right now, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I think that was super helpful, Erin, because like it just kind of gives like a really broad place, and then what we can do is kind of dive more into that as like after we hear from Allison, because I think that was a lot of different ideas. Yeah. And I also, Erin, once you guys figure out what your plan, like how those classes are actually structured, if you would be interested in sharing that with us, we can definitely send it back out to the group so that they can kind of see that. And also Erin does have to jump off slightly before the top of the hour. So if anybody does have questions and we don't get to them and you would like Erin's feedback or to brainstorm with him, obviously just reach out to me. So if he just disappears, it's because he has another call, but we definitely want to make sure we provide you guys the opportunity to keep on talking to him because he's lovely. Awesome. Okay, so Allison, let's go. I would love to hear, okay, Allison has like such a cool idea that they're working on with Wonderland, and I would love to hear about and have you share what you guys are doing specifically for your camps, because they're so awesome. And also if you want to like introduce yourself so everybody knows too, that'd be cool.
Sure. So I'm Allison, and I started a studio a few years ago, operating out of a church. I had 12 students. We wrote a show, and one thing led to another. Here we are 4 years later, and I've got over 200 students and a booming business, and we're building a 10,000 square foot 4 studios and a performance space thing. And I signed that lease right before coronavirus happened. So it's been interesting. I've been on an emotional roller coaster, but at the helm of it all is just trying to find ways to stay in people's minds and keep them creative. And so I can kind of echo a lot of the things that Erin said, and we haven't talked before this, so it sounds like even though we're across the country we have both very similar goals, and we're actually doing some very similar things. I had 3 spring shows plus a showcase that we were planning to do in April and May, and none of those could happen. And I didn't want to postpone the shows because over the summer we have more programming, and then in the fall we have more programming, and we, if we got too far behind, we just wouldn't get it done. So we moved all of our rehearsals online onto a Zoom platform. This was after a few weeks of trial and error, by the way. This wasn't an immediate, we knew what we were doing. But now we meet on Zoom. I'll just take Aladdin Kids. We're also doing Aladdin. So we meet now we're in just a question and answer phase, but we were doing readings on Zoom. Just revisiting. We've already done all of our music and all of our choreography. We were about to enter blocking rehearsals. So I just really wanted the kids to be familiar with their dialogue and be thinking about their character development and the choices that they were making. And we just explained to them okay, now we're on screen, so there's no entering and exiting, but you have to use your voice and your face to express what we would have expressed on stage. That's really important. So just honing in on different skills has been really important. And one of my other directors who was directing Charlotte's Web said, she gave them a link and said, watch this old time radio show. See how they use their voice to convey emotion. And really focusing on what works on camera and not trying to make something that would work on stage work here, because it just won't. So we did a few read-throughs. I gave them some direction, and then we decided to make a movie. So we're having them record at home. We've given them specific instructions on listening to their music in headphones, recording their voice into another device so that we get an a cappella track of their voice. Then we will put all of those into GarageBand, layer them, and make an authentic cast recording of our kids singing their solos and their ensemble pieces. And there's 3 parts to this. They record themselves in their costumes with either a solid backdrop or a piece of art that they've created to be a backdrop. Full body shots, pre-recorded and submitted in full costume of all choreography, and singing all solos to the camera, but we will not use any sound on those video footage. We will layer their audio on top of their videos that they're submitting. And the last part of this is meeting on Zoom for scene work. So scenes will be filmed so where they can react off of each other. We've found out that there is a setting on Zoom that Atiana, the girl that's directing Charlotte's Web, figured out that there's a way, if you do a certain setting on Zoom, you can enter and exit the screen. So you can when you turn your camera on, it makes you on the screen. And when you turn it off, you're off the screen. I can find out what those settings are and share those because I don't know. But that's the idea, is when your line is coming up, you bloop, bloop, and you come on and you say it and then you disappear. It is possible. They've been rehearsing it in their show. I haven't gotten to that phase of my show because I have singing and dancing as well. Theirs is just a straight play. So they've been playing around more with that. Also on Zoom, you can do virtual backgrounds. So we've talked about using, the palace or the this, that, and the other thing. I wish I had my little artwork that one kid made, but she drew the marketplace. She painted it on a canvas and she gave it to me. And so I can scan that original artwork by this kid in, and we can use that as a virtual backdrop, which is amazing. So we're just trying to feature as much of their art as they can, muster up making at home. Some parents are like, that's too much for me. I'm not an artist. I have no supplies. A solid wall will do. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's okay. We'll put some sparkles on the screen or something. We'll zhuzh it up. It's going to be fun. So mainly the biggest nightmare of all that has been logistics and communication. We've been using the Band app, which has been a real good tool for us. We can separate our band apps into classes. I could actually share my screen if you want, Lindsay, and kind of show y'all how I'm using band.
I think, does anybody use band in the group? Yeah, I think you should, because band is super fascinating. Yeah, and then we'll open up for questions on brainstorming in like 5 minutes, but I think definitely show us this out because it's
okay, I have so many more ideas that I totally didn't get to share with you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you can totally, as we're going through, I bet questions will come up, because then
yeah, because I didn't even get into like, I only talked about Aladdin. I didn't even get into like summer intensives and things like that.
Okay.
So bands, mine's really overwhelming because I run the whole school. But each of our classes, so intermission is like anybody in the school that wants to get on and like stay active. And we actually started a program called Wonderland TV, where all of my staff members do at least one creative activity every week. I do them every day. And we post them for free, just for the community, on YouTube, our Facebook, Wonderland TV playlist, and the intermission band for kids to use at home. And that crosses the gambit of music, acting, readings, virtues, poetry, anything we can think of, dance, visual arts, all of it. So Aladdin Kids, for instance, is right here. It's kind of like a private little Facebook, but you can do more with it. You can do photo, sticker, video, live, poll, attached, calendar. You can put stuff, and then the parents can put it right on their calendar. It's awesome. To-do lists, sign-ups. So instead of Sign Up Genius, you can design your sign-up right here in Band. Attendance. I don't do bill split. I don't do that. I don't do any of the other stuff, but I use every single other feature on here. I post. They can comment. I can see who has seen it. I can private message up here. I can group message. I can, we attach the PDF here. We put something on the calendar there. Bunch of stuff on the calendar. My goodness, my office manager went in and did all that. So I typed up a breakdown of what I wanted them to do for choreography, and then I made a video. I just went live, made a video to accompany the document because no one reads. I had like a choreography video right here, like this is how I want you to move with your cloud, you know, and we had a costume and prop pickup as well. So they all came, I made them wear masks. I gave them their stuff that I had. I said, take this home and show me what you got. And it's just going to be really like, it's just going to be DIY. Like whatever we get is what we get. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. And so yeah, that's one little kiddo in her little costume, and everybody can post and interact. So that's what I really like about it. But as far as virtual summer, we're calling them intensives because we normally have camps and intensives, and we felt like what we were doing virtually was more in line with an intensive than a camp, because camp, I think of like, I drop my kid off and I get to go to work. Intensive is more of a class setting. And so we're thinking of doing tech and using that platform from last week that special guest talked about. I love that. Acting, and we are offering private lessons in voice and piano, doing a couple of original shows where the kids who sign up come on, write a show, we record it on Zoom, or in the way that we're doing Aladdin if it has music and dance. Just letting my teachers get really creative and with the kids and getting their energy out in this kind of way. Visual arts, keeping that going. And I also thought a music video class, summer intensive, would be really cool and very doable. And we're learning a lot about how to use technology and put it all together. So I think make a music video, sign up. We're thinking like 40 minutes a day in the late afternoon, early evening for 3 to 5 days in the same week, so that we can offer many of them at the same time and use the free Zoom platform. Because I have one paid account, but you can't be on it. More than one person can't be on it at the same time. So to create multiple of those, we're going to keep it at 40 minutes and plan for that. We are going to do a sort of like subscription box type thing with some of our classes where for the art class, we'll purchase the supplies and package them together and then ship them off to the kids that sign up so that they get something tangible that they can open up and it feels really special. And then they sign on to their Zoom and their teacher's like, okay, get your brown construction paper and do this with me. And so they all have the same supplies. It's not left up to mom and dad to like run out and get it. And it's one less thing they have to worry about. So that's something I'm super excited about incorporating with this, because I think that's going to be really like something that the kids are really going to love, and the parents too. And so we were going to do for our acting classes, like in their subscription box, they would get like their monologue and their scene that they're going to need for their class, and maybe like some stickers, like just making it as fun as possible and giving them something they can physically hold on to, or something to make a prop with and say, we're going to get together and use this toilet paper holder, haha, to make a prop. So we're still brainstorming all that. There are some Zoom shows that are coming out that MTI is selling. One is called the Big 1-0. So that's an option as well. And but we kind of like to write our own stuff when we can, because we're weird and we like to work harder than we should. And okay, I think, Spot TV is something that incorporates with the software that I use. I don't know if that will work for anyone else, but it is a streaming service. I also know that MTI is teaming up with someone on a streaming service as well. But we're gonna incorporate Spot TV at my new space anyway. So if we are gonna do a show where we can't have big, large audiences coming in, we would stream it using something. We're gonna use Spot TV. So I just wanna say that as well. But I think I went through all my notes really quickly. Okay.
That was amazing. That was so great. You have so many this is why I'm so glad you're here, Allison, because I'm obsessed with the subscription boxing that you're thinking for summer camp, because we need to get these kids and ourselves honestly off of computer screens, because our eyes will soon shrivel up and our hearts will explode from over technology. But I think that that's really awesome, and I so appreciate you sharing that. Harrison had a question, is asking if band is free.
Yes, completely free.
Wow, that's amazing.
The only thing that we kind of run into is like your video load. Like we were putting a lot of videos and it was saying we were maxed out. So what we're doing is uploading them to YouTube and then putting the link on there, or Vimeo. So there's a way around it, but I have not paid a penny for band, and it has been awesome.
That's so cool. I love it. Okay, cool. So now would be an awesome time. So does anybody have, Emily has a question quick before we go and open up. Is band secure? Some parents might be concerned about privacy.
Nothing has come up for me to tell me that it's not. No outsider that I haven't invited can see anything that we're doing, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe the people that work at band can, but there's not been a concern, and I've used it for a while now. Haven't run into any issues with privacy.
And that's probably something too, Emily, if you are interested in using band, I'm sure they have like a support system or a support team to reach out to.
They post, there's like a feed, like a Facebook feed, right? They post like inspirational quotes and like all these tutorials and stuff that I don't have time to watch, but they are on it. They're a great organization. Like they're killing it.
That's amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now would be a great time. If anybody, I would love to hear what you guys are currently working on as far as your program. So like, what are you guys thinking as far as like, how are you bringing stuff online? If anybody wants to share, or if anybody has like questions that you're trying to like navigate through as you're bringing this all online. We have a really cool mix of like admin people today and educators. So I'm really excited to hear from you guys. So whoever wants to unmute, we can just start brainstorming. Anybody? This is always my favorite. Oh, yes.
I'll jump in. So Carolyn and I work for a company called Creative Theater Experience in the summer here in Olympia, Washington. Mm-hmm. And we are still deciding whether or not it's going to be happening. And so this has been really helpful to get these ideas that I can bring to the table to our artistic director. I'm the tech director over the summer, and Carolyn does choreo. But we're just all trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. We did the thing where we sent out survey to the families saying who is still planning on attending, and we're waiting for those responses, and then we'll see. And then some of these ideas I'm definitely going to steal from you guys, because this is good stuff. Good stuff. I really like that idea of the music videos.
Yeah.
What a great way to bring multiple arts into one. Virtually and doing it online. Doing filming and all that. So that's brilliant. And also, thank you for bringing that to our attention about the band app.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's really neat. So, cool. That's it.
Awesome. No, that sounds great. I'm so glad that you guys are trying to find a way. I think that especially in not that Olympia is like our particularly small community, but it's far enough outside of the city of Seattle that it's really cool that you guys are trying to make sure that there's still opportunities. I'm all about that education equity.
Yeah, absolutely. And the really cool thing about CTE is we are process driven. We're not production driven, and so all of this is so perfect, right down our alley to be able to because if it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be the best thing we've ever seen, but we're learning, and we'll be learning together. And so this is really neat, really neat.
So good, yay!
I'll share.
Shannon?
So I'm Shannon. I am all the way down in Arkansas at the
neighbor.
And so things are actually starting to open up for us. So we're kind of doing a mix. I've decided that I don't want to have anyone near each other in June because that seems too soon. So we're looking at the end of July. But like you guys, I was in the middle of productions with Peter Pan, and I've been doing a lot of what Aaron has been doing of like check-ins and character work, and we watched the movie. But we've pushed their show all the way back to September, which is now altering our entire season because we do like 3 shows at a time all the time with different age groups.
Same, yeah.
So crazy. And I'm the only director, and the struggle is real, but some serious multitasking. So currently I'm trying to figure out like what I want to offer in June online, and I love the subscription box. I actually was thinking today, I was like, it'd be cool to like put things in one and they have to make puppets out of it and create a story. I thought that would be really cool because I was like messing with a lot of like crafts I had. But in July, we're dividing it up because we usually do like big musical theater extravaganzas. And so just in case we can't end up meeting in person, we're focusing it more as like a show choir where they're really learning music and like socially distant dances. And then we're just going to film rather than inviting parents to watch a showcase. And then, so that is what we got. And then we're hoping, fingers crossed, to start everything back mid-August because that's when we go back to school. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome that you guys are figuring out how to do that, Shannon. And like, yeah, you guys, I don't know how you manage to do all the things you do with your company.
It's crazy. I got preschool through high school, so.
That's lovely.
If I can add, just to tack on to what Shannon was saying, like in addition to like all of the stuff that we were doing at Kid Stage, we were also in the midst of like our like school year-round acting intensive training program, which is called Institute, which Lindsay has participated in as an instructor. And like Shannon, you kind of checked all the boxes in terms of like how the instructors and students like were still able to learn music, like through the show choir, Brady Bunch, Mosaic. They just finished in both locations. They finished classes this week, and so like they kind of capitalized on doing like a big like showcase that wasn't necessarily required. Like if you wanted to showcase what you've been working on the last like 6 weeks, you could perform it. Otherwise, you can just sit back and watch. And it was up to the students whether they wanted to invite their parents or other guests to the Zoom call or not. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. This is so fun to hear what everyone's doing. So
can I ask a question on the like live Zoom kind of performance opportunity?
yeah.
Are you having any issues with lag in terms of the music and the tech? I guess I'm aiming that at Aaron because you were just talking about doing.
Oh yeah. I bet Allison can jump in, especially because of the whole show choir thing.
Mhm.
Yes, to a certain extent, but we've been able to kind of mitigate it substantially, at least through trial and error. Like the first few times that we've chatted, like with our Aladdin cast, for example, we realized that between staffers, I had the best Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah.
Because at least my bedroom office, which is where I'm in right now, is the closest to the Wi-Fi box. So it's like,
Yeah.
great, I guess I'm the person. But then also, which it sounds so dumb, but like if you are chatting with people who, my general rule of thumb has been more than 10 people, start closing every single tab you don't need. Because it'll, even if it's just idling in your web browser, it still takes up bandwidth. So I would recommend that. And then when we watched the animated version of Aladdin, we also did a screen share through Zoom. I coincidentally had the DVD of it, so I just watched, we screenshot the DVD as opposed to watching it through Disney Plus, because that's Wi-Fi on top of Wi-Fi. So just to mitigate any possible, skipping and etc., we just did the DVD version of it. So a little more old school.
I had a production of Charlotte's Web that we kind of had to stop mid-range, and I have the DVD of Charlotte's Web, so I'm probably going to steal that idea.
Yeah. I had something else with that. What was it? Whenever we were chatting with our cast, there was one of the earlier meeting sessions we had 35 of our 40 cast members in one room, which was awesome, but also it tanked sometimes with Wi-Fi. We heavily encourage students, if they're not actively engaging with the topic in the big room, to turn off their cameras and to keep them muted, and then if they needed to jump in and ask a question or something, then they turned everything on. And then of course, from the admin side, on a Zoom call, you could also just as easily mute everyone's cameras or microphones. So it's technology, any way to mitigate the bandwidth. So turn off cameras if you don't need to, only use your Wi-Fi or internet connectivity to do the actual streaming, as opposed to having multiple tabs at the same time, unless you are screen sharing something that's on YouTube. But make sure that's the only tab that's open.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah. I guess since I'm up open and live, I'll say what we're doing. So I work in the education department at Hartford Stage, and I am our camp director as well for the summer program. And I had been put on furlough for a while and actually just started back up this week.
Yay,
so we are, thank you. But we're playing mad catch up. So we've already made the definitive decision that our summer programs are going to be virtual only. Being in this pocket of the country, we're still in a very much hot zone. And although we would be permitted to be in person, there's a lot of restrictions. What's that?
You guys will be allowed to be in person?
In Connecticut, starting June 29th, we could do in-person camps, but you can only have 10 kids in a group, and you can only have 30 total unless you get special permissions, yada, yada, yada. So it was super complicated, and we're not quite, our state's not quite open it yet. So it just didn't seem like a good idea to take that risk. So so we're just trying to figure out how to bring our programming online. But our summer program is pretty big. So it is a fully licensed camp, and it's full day. And usually at a time, I'll have as many as 160 kids on site with a staff of 30 in 9 different programs running simultaneously. So
it's not too much or anything.
Yeah, no biggie. Pre-K all the way through high school. So it's okay, how do I take all of that and move it online? So I'm really just absorbing everything right now, and I'm glad that you guys had this today, so I could hear ideas. So
yeah, well, also keep us updated. It sounds like you guys are going to be problem solving mad, and obviously we're here to help support you. We do this kind of stuff all the time, so we don't have all
I'll
the
definitely
answers.
be checking it out.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll jump in. I'm in Southern Indiana, and this will be our 5th summer to do a summer program that we just kind of wanted to do something to encourage our elementary kids to get involved. And we do 1 week. We usually do it the beginning of June. Obviously, we are just now in the process of opening back up our state. So we have moved it to the end of July. And I love all these ideas. Like I said, we do 1 week. We audition like a month before, work with the kids that have the speaking parts, show them some of the choreography, and then we come together for 1 full week. We do little breakout sessions and we put on a performance for the parents. But I love all these ideas. I'm kind of obsessed now with the subscription box. So in case something happens that we can't go live and in person, I'm really interested in this virtual thing. I don't want the kids to miss out because I feel like they've missed out on so much now. We canceled our high school show just because there was no time to back it up like everybody else. If you back it up, then you backlog your whole system. So I'm loving these little breakout sessions that you guys are hosting and appreciate all the ideas.
Gretchen, do you teach at a high school or at a school, or are you guys like a separate entity?
I'm at Vincennes Lincoln High School and Clark Middle School, but then because I was an elementary music teacher before, then I'm the theater person for our district. So yeah, we
That's amazing.
Out. Yeah, and I have a couple good teacher friends that I've pulled on to help too. So yeah, we're just, Southern Indiana School Corporation.
Love it. No, and I love that you guys are thinking of that way to make sure that like we, as hard as this all is, to try to find ways that we don't have to cancel our programming. But because like it's getting harder and harder. I don't know, like my siblings are all in high school and it's like they're like, I can't even look forward to anything anymore. So it's like, well, how can we make sure that we don't have to cancel, but we can modify and like make sure that the kids and our families and our communities are already like they're in the know of it. Like, hey, we have a backup plan. We're not going to leave you hanging. I love that.
My concern is that they're going to make us limit the amount of kids. So I opened registration tentatively today and I said, I'm going to limit it at 50, and I'll put everybody else on a waiting list because I have a big field next to my house. So I said, we could do it out in my field, nothing else. But no, I want to keep the kids safe, but I also want, as we all do, to let them have that opportunity.
For sure. That's awesome. Anybody else want to share? Carrie or Brian? I think that's maybe all has it. You don't have to. Awesome. So if any, like, I don't know, Erin, I know you have to head off in like a second. Is there any last words of wisdom that or any last things that came up that you're like, oh, flag this, or this is an idea?
Yeah, a couple other, again, this is mostly geared towards productions because that's just the land that I live in, but I could see a world where like classes and camps and acting intensives could also use this. There's a couple other of like web-based apps. It got me brainstorming when Allison was describing band. There's a couple others that I know a lot of school districts have been using. One is called Microsoft Flipgrid, which is a video-based, web app. Let me see if I can screen share this really fast. Here, take a tour to my screen sharing. Can everyone see this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like Flipgrid is through Microsoft and it's free. You just need an email and a password to log in. But Flipgrid is a video-based, like kind of like chat room in a way. You can create a variety of, this is the one that we created for our Aladdin cast. You can create different topics. It's like we had like a welcome Aladdin cast. We had like a wonder wall where actors can just like pose random questions about the show or about their work. We had like a rehearsal room topic where if there were any students who wanted to kind of showcase what they've been rehearsing on while at home. We also have this like green room topic where it's pretty much a chat for whatever the heck you want to talk about that isn't show related. And then students can post a video of whatever that topic is. So like in this particular topic, we had a video challenge from one of my colleagues challenging the rest of the cast to like showcase like their favorite part of their house. And then you can like record whatever the room was, and you can also do some really cool filters on the video and put stickers and text on it. So it's kind of like Instagram, but for your computer, I guess. And it's completely moderated by like your staff or whoever you designate as the moderator. So like students have to submit it and then has to be approved by a staff member before anyone else can see it. So that's one option. Let's see, Gretchen was talking about auditions. Another thing that we've been doing, because we've been in the midst currently for our summer production, we had to convert all of our in-person auditions into online video submissions. And one database that we found really, really helpful was called Airtable, all one word. It is a subscription-based program if you really want the bells and whistles, but there is a free version for it as well. Airtable is a really easy way to like upload everyone's headshots, resumes, if they have like an audition video like on YouTube or Dropbox, and you can send this whole like Outlook or this table to like your directors and your designers if they need to see it, and you can like check box like, oh, I want to call this person for this particular character, or I want to call this person for the ensemble, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's pretty easy peasy. Like you can just click the plus sign and then like type in a student's name or, you know, an actor's name, upload audition forms, conflict calendars, headshots, resumes, any other contact information like an email or phone number, et cetera, et cetera. So for those of you who are kind of figuring out how to do auditions for your upcoming shows, either this summer or later in the fall, I highly, highly recommend using Airtable. Because it's just one-stop shopping for everyone who wants to audition. So yeah, that's kind of the production wisdom I have at this current moment in time.
I think both those resources are so awesome.
I have a resource that might be helpful just in terms of organization.
Yeah.
Have you guys discovered the wonder and beauty that is Trello?
Oh,
Yes.
Right.
But you should tell if you want to tell everybody about it, Emily.
So Trello is like an online checklist basically, but it's a shareable format, and you can set up all these like, here's my list for this show, and you can separate it into however many categories you want, and you can upload, you know, photos, files, you can assign tasks to people in your group, you can color code. I love color coding. And I think the most beautiful thing is that if you have like your to-do list, and you can just like physically click it and just drag it into done. It is so satisfying. So it's just, we've been using that in some of our productions just to kind of, that way it's great because a bunch of people are all kind of in the same list, and you realize, okay, that got taken care of. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Da, 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 da. So it's a good resource for a production team. So just wanted to throw that out there. Love it.
all right, I'm gonna peace out. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, send them to Lindsay, and
yeah, we'll definitely connect you.
Yeah, and I'm totally up for any other types of like Zoom meetings and Zoom calls. So
awesome. We'll have more for sure.
Best of luck, everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. This is so great. There are so many things. Yeah, we're still sticking around for half hours. If anybody wants to chime in or has thoughts, we can, or else we can call it a day. This is always my least favorite part, when I'm like, does anybody want to talk? And then I'm quiet for like literally 2 seconds, and I'm like, it's too quiet.
I have a question for those of you who've been using Bands, because I've been using Remind, which kind of works, but isn't the most useful all the time. Has anyone used both of them and have like comparisons?
I don't know what Remind does these days because it's been a long time since I've used it. It's been a couple of years, but my experience that I had with it when I was working for our parish schools, we have parishes instead of counties, weird, but I was working for just a public school, and we used Remind, and like every parent hated it. Every teacher hated it. I haven't run into the same issues with band.
Yeah, it's just really text. So my other question is, I've had a lot of problems, like Peter Pan is a cast of 40 kids. And when quarantine started, I realized that only 20 of the 40 were even on the Remind. And some of them had like 2 parents, like mom and dad were both on it. So it was even less than cast. So I was like, guys, you're not going to get my updates if you're not on here. Besides like mass emailing everybody. So do they have to sign up for it, or is that something you can put them in? How does that work?
It's an app, and we email them and we say, we're not going to email you anymore. We're going to give you your information on band. So if you don't get on the band, you're not going to have the information. And then, you know, there are a couple stragglers that are like, no one ever contacted me. And I'm like, yeah, we did. And I'll screenshot it, and then they feel really bad about themselves. But I kind of have just like stopped holding everyone's hand. And you know, if you like, I have 8-year-olds that manage their own band. Right. The parents will just be like, here, it's up to you. Maybe not 8, but young. And for them, like one of them, I think she's 10. She told me, my mom's not helping me record my stuff, so it's up to me. And I was like, then you send it to me and you tag me and Mr. Drew, and we're gonna help you. Before you like record everything, go ahead and send us a sample. Like this poor little kid. But it's something that her parent was like, this is up to you now. Like, here's your responsibility. Go and do it. So it's an app. It doesn't text them like remind us, so it's not as annoying. But we do highly encourage people to turn on their notifications. But like, I put my band right next to my text app. And then I'll see the little red circle of however many, it's usually like 100 notifications I have. But for most people, it's like 1 or 2. And it's not that annoying. And they can message you
directly? Like you can just message one person, or they message you, so they don't need your phone number?
Right. Yes. So they can private chat. You can start a group chat with only certain members if you needed. Like I have guards that are in Aladdin, and I was like, hey guys, why don't we start a little guard chat so you guys can figure out what you're going to use as a red sash or a turban, and tell me what you need from me, because I can go get you red fabric if I need to, you know, and just to where I could like zone in on certain groups. And that was really helpful. We've liked it. Our staff has a band, so I can communicate with my staff there. Me and my administrative team have our own band. That's where we create our to-do lists for each other, with each other. We can all see, and then we can click it. Oh, I did that for you, Tabitha. Here, I'm gonna click it off your list. So we tried Trello, but for us, it was like app overload. So I like that band kind of does it all. And it even does signups, y'all. Like sign-up genius. It's awesome.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
And it's accessible via computer also and all that, right?
Yes, it has desktop, iPad, iPhone. I can access my accounts anywhere.
Yeah, first, our school has the Google Suite, and so we use Google Classroom, and it sounds a lot like that, but I won't be able to use that over the summer, so band sounds like the way to go. That's awesome. Thanks, Allison.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So when you say it, you just send them a link. I'm not familiar with band at all.
You kind of broke up in the beginning, but can you say the first part of your question?
When you said it signs them up, do they get a link?
Yes. So so as the band, let me just share my screen one more time, because that'll be like the easiest way to do it. Okay, you guys can see where I'm at. I was like closing tabs as he was like, you need to close your tabs, like like some of them. Oh, and I'll tell you another cool thing. You can like see who has looked at your stuff. Like you can see like who looked at it but didn't like participate, which is really nice. So you can like pinpoint people who are not participating. So as you can see in Aladdin, I have 31 members. I only have 22 cast members. so some of them are like a mom and a kid will each, create it. So you can have like admins right here. So we can control the information that some of the certain like features only an admin can control. And then we'll have like all of our members on here. They receive, so if I would invite somebody, I could, I don't know what that one is. I usually just do invite code or like share via Messenger, Facebook, or email. This will just give me, it says copy URL. So then I can go form my email and say, everyone needs to join this band. It's really important. And I'm not going to email information anymore. It's going to be on band. So get it. And then I put that code and it only takes them into that particular band. Like they're not going to be able to see my whole wall of bands. That's only because I'm in all of those bands. So they would only be in the Aladdin band if I sent them that code. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, and we use Google Suites as well, and it sounds very similar to Google Classroom, but I like this.
Yeah, I didn't do Google Classroom because it sounded more academic oriented when I was doing my research, and this one was a little bit more activity oriented. So I thought it was the better fit for me, but I don't work at a school. And so I could see where if you're working at a school and you're assigned your school Gmail and they would use that, like that would make sense.
Right. But that's such a awesome way of putting it. It does sound so much more academic, and for a summer theater program, like, kids aren't going to want that. Band does sound just super cool.
Yeah.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. And like I said, they're really on it with like updates and like this is their page. So this is called Leaders Digest, and it just gives you like inspirational quotes and like links and tutorials. I think you can easily get in touch with them. I've never needed to because there's like a tutorial for everything, but this is like the one that they give you just for like signing up with band, which I think is really neat. But yeah, I have all of these bands, but that's a little overwhelming. Yours won't look like that, I don't think.
Mine will.
Yeah, maybe some of you will have all those classes, but some, like even for a private lesson, right? So like I have teachers that are doing private lessons. I don't know if you saw, like it might just be one teacher and one student on that band, but nobody else can see. I mean, I can, but other people that are doing different private lessons or different classes are not going to cross-pollinate with those. There was something that I thought of to say, and that with the regulations coming out, just looking at the numbers, I mean, people are going through a hard time economically. Where I'm from heavily relies on oil. Lafayette is an oil hub. So oil is down tremendously. People are just really struggling right now financially. So I'd already lowered my camp rate. And then with all the numbers going down on like how many kids you can have and like how many teachers I'd have to hire already with a reduced camp rate, it didn't make sense for me to like do all that work and take all that risk and probably be stressed out every day throughout the summer, wondering if kids are keeping their masks on or worried about like wiping things down, that I just decided to let it go and not do that. Plus, like, I don't know how you do theater with a mask on. Like, I can't wrap my head around that. Like, I don't get it. So I'm just going to let the other people in town have their camps, and I'm going to continue online, and I'm going to cross my fingers that I can do some type of production at the end of the summer. But if I can't, I'll have backups plan 2 and 3. That's how I've been looking at it. Every single thing I plan, I have like 5 backup plans. And then, I mean, it's a nightmare, but it's what I've been doing, and it's what has kept me going.
I think that's a really good point, Allison, about like just like having all those backup plans, even though it's a lot of work, and sometimes having backup plans is like ultimately more stressful. But right now, it probably is super helpful. In that then at least you have something, and so you're not scrambling at the last minute, which is what so many of us have been doing the last 2 months. Not our faults at all, but just that I think that constant stress is really going to start to get to all of us if it already hasn't. And I think it'll continue to increase.
I
Unfortunately.
think just going ahead and incorporating like those backup plans as a cushion or as something to, you know, fall back on is just crucial right now. And it took my brother-in-law, who's owned his own business for 20 years, to tell me that. He was like, Allison, like, you can't just have one, you have to have 5. And some really good things have come out of that. Some new connections, some like staff members stepping up, some, you know, good things come out of it. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. Allison, what are you doing as far as like, can people from outside of your area sign up for your online classes?
Yes, that is something that I'm really excited about. I've never been able to cater to anyone outside of my little bubble.
That'll be awesome. And also hopefully another potential way to increase revenue.
Yeah, I hope so.
Open up to more than just your normal folks. Like, seems like awesome.
Right. And actually, another idea that I forgot to share with you guys, for my casts, I'm trying to connect with some Broadway stars to do some cameos, but instead of just making like a video, I want them to like hop on a Zoom with us for like a few minutes and just say, hey kids, I'm so proud of you. Like, y'all are doing awesome. And cameos don't cost that much. I think I can swing a budget of a couple $100 to put toward like having Jeremy Englehart come on and like say, I was the original Genie. Hi. Like, that would be amazing. So we're doing stuff like that too, to just give the kids like something that they wouldn't normally get, to like make up for all the BS that we've all been put through. So if you have a little bit extra money and you can do that with your kids, like that, I think is going to go a long way. They won't forget that. One of my parents gave me that idea because she was doing some cameos for her kid for her birthday. Some of them cost like $50. It depends on who you get. They're all different, but you can go, and usually just like the cameo will send you to their website, and then you can like send them a little inquiry. So we've just been saying like, hey, this is a situation. Our kids are still rehearsing. We're making movies out of our shows. Can you hop on to one of our Zooms for 10 minutes? We haven't gotten a yes yet. Don't bother with Jeremy Jordan. He said no. But we have some inquiries out.
What a fun.
I'm gonna talk to Alexa Green tomorrow. She was one of our instructors at Broadway Evolved last summer. And so I've been having her email, and I've been wanting to hook up Phoenix with a voice lesson with her. And I have a meeting with her tomorrow, and I'm gonna talk to her about coming on to, if I can't get anyone, she could just do all the Zooms and they could do a Q&A with her. What's it like to be on Broadway? Because she played Glenda on Broadway. And what's it like to be a vocal instructor, and like, you know, career Q&A or something like that as a treat. And I think she'll say yes, because she's really cool. So just like, if you I mean, Lindsay, you know everyone. Like,
I don't know about not anybody cool like that. I know a lot of like nerdy people. So if everybody wants like an NYU professor to come on and chat about like analytical theater, yeah, hit me up.
Right?
Allison, I really like that idea, but I would also put in the hat local theaters in your area too, because those actors are no longer working either. And just to be able to put them in and maybe throw them, you know, maybe not as much as a Broadway actor, but throw them a little money too.
We don't have a lot. We don't have that.
Right. yeah.
That's a good point that Mara said.
In the Pacific Northwest, we are rich with theater. And so we have quite a few, but yeah, definitely. I was thinking that same thing.
I'm probably the most famous actor in town. We don't have that.
Nice.
That's an awesome idea, though. I love that. I'm going to now that's a good thing. I'm going to think about Harrison and see if I can get anything for any of my kiddos over in Seattle. That'd be really fun to give some, because there's like, they have like kids like love all those people at the Fifth and stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Wait, Lindsay, are you in Seattle right now, or are you?
No, next week, next Brainstorm, I'll be in Seattle. I'll go if all goes well. I'm still in Hudson, Wisconsin. And then at some point you'll see me back in New York, but who knows when that is. So awesome. Any other thoughts or questions? Well, great. So we'll stick around if anybody has any questions. I just want to say thank you so much to Allison and Aaron, who is not here, for joining us. This has been super, I love these brainstorming sessions. So thank you all for sticking around and being here. I hope this has been helpful. If it has been helpful, we have a Spotlight, which is our educator group, which is a private Facebook group. You get access to like all of our programming, which for the time being is all at a free or pay what you can price anyways, through a sponsorship with BookTix. So shout out to our friends over there. But so Spotlight is an educator community where you have access to all of our mentors, awesome educators like Allison. We have a membership site that's full of like previous like trainings that we've done like this, and also our masterclass series. If you're interested in joining us, I'm going to put the link over. But yeah, it's free right now because of BookTix and their sponsorship. So you should totally come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun. And we do all kinds of cool stuff over there as well. We have digital happy hours every week, which is really fun for people in specific, like for artistic directors or tech directors, that kind of stuff. It's very fun. And then also we have another masterclass series going on right now called Creative Response and Community During COVID-19, which is all about how can we start to innovate the way that we are creating both online like performance, but also new content generation. And so tomorrow is our second class, and we're being joined by NYU's Verbatim Performance Lab director, Joe Salvatore, and he is going to be talking all about verbatim and docutheater, which is a really awesome opportunity for us to be creating work with right now, because it's all interview based and it can be totally culturally responsive. That one is at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm throwing that over in the chat now. And so we'd love for you to join us over there. And then finally, all of our programming is totally free, as I mentioned, or pay what you can. If this has been helpful and you would like to see this stuff continue after COVID is done, and you have the ability, we'd love for you to consider making a donation. There's never any obligation. We're just committed to keeping all of our artists on staff right now, and continuing to provide opportunities. But like I said, you don't have to. We're just excited you're here and being at our programs. But if you are compelled to do that, then put that over in the chat. It's the last one there. So yes, this has been great, and so many new faces today, which is like wonderful. So thank you guys so much for joining, and hopefully we'll see you guys at future brainstorms. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for putting this together.